Alrighty, today we're going to talk about Caption Creator. This is a pretty simple app. Basically, all it does is either take text or an image and write you a few versions of a caption, as well as lays out your credits in a standardized format and then recommends some hashtags based off of some existing ones that we've used before. So let's just start with the simplest version, which is just we need a caption. And we're just throwing something in here. So just with a little text description, it's going to spit out 3 different captions that are targeted to our voice. You can, just sort of copy and paste out of here what you like, or ask it to put them all together. It will, put each of the different credits together in this nice format, and then usually give you about 10 hashtags that are, Seattle events, even foods catering, that kind of stuff, custom cocktails. These are relatively standard captions that we like to use. If you say that you want, 3 new ones, it'll just come up with whatever you want. I mean, all of these interactions are very, very open-ended. So this is just any kind of conversational back and forth you can do. You can say, I like number 3. Can you do 10 more captions? And then it selects the one that you want. And I meant to say 10 new hashtags, but here true, like we like 3, but I want 10 more similar to that. You can just do more and more and more. Then let's just say I like 6 as the final. I need 5 new hashtags, and you can just sort of have a conversation back and forth until you feel that you've gotten what you want. And you can say, okay, those are good, make the final, and it should write it all out in a nice clean format. Okay, and then we can just copy and paste this, and that's basically the extent of the app. It's not all that complicated. And I want to show you just one more use case of this is instead of having to type it all out, one other way you could do this is just drag and drop an image in. So you can see we've got this macaroons on this little pegboard here, and you could again say Nayscala, I don't know, SHW events, planned it, and who else? You could say Orion Entertainment DJ'd it, and then it can look at the image. We don't have to say anything about what the content actually is, other than the surrounding context and our bold colors, interactive macaroon wall. So it's all going to be targeted directly to whatever those things are, and then spit out whatever the required credits and hashtags are. So yep, that's how you use it. Not too complicated, but you can get a lot out of this if you have more and more conversations with it and narrow it down to what you would like. Okay, so this does, though, have a specific tone and style, and it has specific hashtags that it always uses, like, of course, ours or Seattle catering and stuff like that. So if you ever want these to change or anything about this format to change, you can go up in the top left here where it says Caption Creator, and just like any other app, you scroll down to Edit GPT, and that's going to take you to this screen, this configure screen. You have the name, description, as always, and then here you can see your instructions. So thankfully this one is pretty simple. It doesn't have any knowledge. It just has the web search and these descriptions, or I'm sorry, the description of the instructions. This is relatively complicated. It's pretty long, honestly, to get all the little details, but it is just English, so if you ever do want to make changes, I would recommend down in the bottom right corner of this instruction window, these 2 little arrows. You can open it up and you can take a look through it. We usually start by telling it what it is, what it's supposed to do. There's kind of this is prompt structure, so it gets a little bit more complicated, but at the end of the day, if you just take your time and read through this, it all, should be make sense. If, a human could just read through this and understand the instructions, we're telling it what the input's going to be, we're going to tell it what the output is going to be, you can sort of walk your way down. So, for example, let's say instead of having 3, you always wanted 5. You just type 5 in here, and it should always spit out a few more. You do want to double check, though, as you read through this. There might be another instance. You see right here it says generate 3 unique captions. So, try to maybe do a little command find and see if you can, or command F, you can see all the different instances of where it is and edit those. Just be thorough about when you make changes. You see here, emojis should never be used. That was just a stylistic choice that we made at the time. You can delete that, and I guarantee it'll start using emojis. Sometimes you have to repeat things twice to really get that targeted in. It loves doing emojis for captions. So you can see, there's a lot of qualitative changes that can be made to these captions. Excuse me here. So anything that you want to be more targeted, if you want to be more serious or more funny, you can do that. We try to always encourage interaction by ending captions with a question, a call to action, or a fun prompt that relates to the image or foods catering services. That could be a little bit repetitive. It always asks a question, so you can take that out and that won't happen. Then we also give it some examples. This as well can be swapped out. If you don't really like these examples, you don't think these examples are very reflective of the tone that you want the caption creator to be using, you can go and swap in your favorite ones, and it's pretty easy to change the tone of the tone of voice by doing that. Credits, these are the standard credits that we, at the time thought were the best, most common ones, and you can see we put ourselves in there. If you want to remove any or add any, just type it in there, and it should know what to do when you type in that information in the context. And then last, we have our hashtags, which these are examples, right? And you could swap these out or, put new ones. You can see prioritize simpler one-word hashtags. So we have some little interesting details that we want it to be targeted to, and you don't have to be that. It could be we want multi-word hashtags at some point. You see, we also have here, you may use any of these hashtags if they're relevant, but just don't only use them because we want it to be mixed up. At least 5 of the hashtags must be new. Okay, that could be 10. It could be every single time it's 10 or 3 or 5. So every single part of this is editable. It's a lot to look at, I know, but if it really matters to you and you want to have this thing really be targeted exactly how you want, this is how you can edit this content here, and there's just so much for you to adjust. So after you have made your changes, you just close out of this window and make sure you hit update, and then there you go. Your Caption Creator is targeted to whatever changes that you'd like to make. You can then just hit View GPT when you're done. So we're back to the beginning. Caption Creator, that's how it works. That's how you edit it. Remember, it's in the top left, drop down, Edit GPT, and there you go. Thank you very much. See you in the next one.